Good morning, dolls, and welcome to Little Gretchen's workshop. So today we're going to be making towels and slippers. So let's start with the towels. Now these towels are for the Rooming House Dollhouse bathroom that I just completed. If you haven't seen that video, definitely check it out in my playlist. So when I make towels for my dollhouses, I always use baby washcloths because the loop and the fineness of the fabric is perfect for 12 scale. Now, I'm actually going to use this cardboard that came in the packet because it's the perfect thickness to make my slippers. So I will be saving that for the next part. And I really do like this bag that everything came in. I'm definitely going to save that for another project. Now, Fabric Fusion will be my glue of choice for this project. Now, dolls, the majority of my tiles in this project will be white. I may use one of the other pale colors like the mint green. And I was considering using this china cabinet as my linen closet. So let's get started. So here's my fabric, and I'm trimming it, and I'm more or less cutting it in strips or good sizes that'll be easy to fold, small little squares. So I'm going to make several squares in multiple sizes because I want to give the impression that I have towels, washcloths, and hand towels in the collection or in the stacks inside of the cabinet. Now, dolls, when you're doing projects like this, it's always a good idea to keep the cabinet that you're intending to fill nearby so that you'll know exactly how big or how small you need to make your folded items. And that's whether you're doing cloth, towels, clothes, anything like that. It's good to have the cabinet or the unit you're using nearby. So this was one of the basic shapes that I was going to use. Now, as far as the technique, dolls, it's your choice. Just cut the fabrics in small squares and fold them as you would your life-size towels, just using glue in between the folds to make sure they stay secure. Now, this is what I did with these particular towels. I opened it up and I ran a small bead of the Fabric Fusion along one side, just enough to make it catch. I folded it, and then I folded it again, and then I put another little dot. So when I folded it in half, I have a nice little square. Now, dolls, that is the basic process for making towels and washcloths. You're going to repeat this process multiple times, and I would say you probably need to use at least 2 washcloths so you'll have a nice collection of towels and things. There's nothing worse than not having enough towels and wash rags in a bathroom with a house full of people. So again, dolls, make an ample amount. I would prefer to have more than I need than not enough. When you're trying to stock your shelves, you don't want it to look sparse and skimpy. And dolls, when you're working on little projects like this, I would always advise to make multiples of everything, whether it be washcloths or house shoes or dish rags or dish towels, or you're stocking your shelves. Make a lot because when you begin to stock things, you don't want to have to keep stopping to make more. Here is my completed set of towels, washcloths, and hand towels ready for the rooming house bathroom. And I think they turned out cute. I've got a nice amount that I feel like I can really stock the shelves really nice and make everything look really full and authentic, like laundry was just done. So I wanted to take a moment to just set those aside and just try to fit some of the towels into the cabinet to see if I liked the cabinet. And I decided I really didn't. So I've got to think of something else. So while I'm waiting to do that, I started to work on some slippers. So I used the cardboard that came in the packet with the little baby washcloths, and it was the perfect thickness. And it's basically the very same thickness or similar thickness to chipboard, which would be cereal packet. So you definitely can use that to make slippers. And I just cut the pieces out. Now, most of them dolls, I didn't try to do different sizes. I made some of them smaller and slimmer to look like maybe they were for the women. and some of the other ones a little bit wider and bigger and the different colors to look like they were men's slippers. But do it the way you want. This is just my way. And so I cut them all in sort of like long oval shapes. And then I glued the fabric around it and trimmed it off as much as possible because you don't want the sole of the shoe to be bulky. And after I trimmed it enough, I began to cut just little thin slits all the way around the bottom of the shoe, and then I added glue. The slits just make it easier when you're folding it down and getting around those rounded corners so everything lays down nice and neat and flat. So I used the pointed tool to just kind of help me bend those edges in and just gently round them in. The slits are really going to help you a lot in this process, dolls. Take your time. Don't try to rush through it. It's a very simple project, but it's a little tedious and it will take practice. So if your first couple shoes don't turn out right, don't be frustrated. Just try it again. And if that set doesn't come out like you like, try it again. This video is definitely edited, dolls, because I made the shoes over and over again, trying different fabrics and using the same technique, but I just wanted to see how I could make it different. While I was working, I was just imagining how cute these little details are going to look in the house if you look in the bathroom and see a pair of slippers or under a bed or sitting in a corner. They definitely add a lot of realism to your room and your scenes. So definitely don't neglect these type of small details because they really make a big difference. So here I am just adding the soles to the bottom of that pair of house shoes, and I just used a piece of brown paper bag or just the brown packing paper, and I put glue on the bottom of the shoe and laid it on top of the brown paper and allowed it to dry. And there's my sole. So again, dolls, this project is very simple, very inexpensive. Just some scrap pieces of chipboard, some brown paper bag, and some scrap pieces of fabric. And there we go. With a little of nothing, we have a lovely pair of slippers. So here we are, dolls. I decided to try a different color. So I used the stripe for the footbed of the slipper, and then I tried a piece of fabric that had sort of a floral motif. Used the same technique. I've actually folded over the edge of this because this fabric was fraying. So I glued down the edge, laid it on top, and then I just trimmed it in a circular shape around the toe area of the shoe so that it would be easy to bend the ends under the sole. So I trimmed it in a rounded shape, sort of like a half a circle, and then cut my little slits in to make it easy to turn. Okay, and then I added the glue to the bottom. I just needed just enough so that the top portion of the shoe would catch, and then I gently began to bend it under. And again, just take your time, dolls. Don't rush through this because you want the shoes to match and you want it to look neat, so it'll be something you'll be proud to display in your miniature room or setting. And this one needed a little extra help. I tucked that little piece under with the metal pointer. So after getting that piece tucked in real good, there we go. I have a lovely little pair of slippers. Now I'm actually going to glue this one to the brown paper bag as well and allow it to dry. Now again, the brown paper bag is my sole, so I just added a little glue and stuck it on there and allowed it to dry. Now the other one was already dry, so I went ahead to trim the dry shoe first and just very carefully, just along the shape of the shoe. Now I was trimming it very carefully. I should have been using those small orange scissors, but I usually don't like to use those to cut paper. But I did trim it really close to the edge of the shoe, and definitely be careful not to snip the toe off. I think these came out really nice, and I liked how the striped sole added a lot of interest to the white part with the flowers on it. And just like that, dolls, we have another pair of lovely slippers for the Rooming House Dollhouse. And since those turned out so nice, I went on to make more in different colors. So dolls, I changed my mind about the cabinet. I decided to use this one. It was in the pantry next to the kitchen, but I think it'll work well in the bathroom. I really want to be able to see the tiles, and I don't want the cabinet to be so high that it blocks the view of the bathtub. So I just began to stack the little tiles on the shelves just to see how it would look. And this is one of those times where I tell you, dolls, that you have to play. And you play around to see which way it would look best, which way it would be the most interesting to look at. And I really love the way this rickety, crackled cabinet looks in contrast to the really crisp white tiles. So although the cabinet looks a little old and rickety, the tiles just look absolutely clean. I can't wait to set this up in the dollhouse and scatter the slippers around to various bedrooms. All those things make everything look so realistic. So while arranging some of the tiles, I decided I wanted some of them to kind of protrude, to almost look as though the cabinet was too small for all the tiles that were needed. But I think that again adds to the realism. I really love the crackle. And I think this cabinet will be just a perfect little linen cabinet in the rooming house bathroom, and it'll go well with the decor there. So I'm just trying to decide how to arrange some other things, but I'm going to set that aside for a moment because I kind of feel like I need some more colors. But let's look at the slippers that I have already made. So I made 2 pair of the little plaid ones, 1 pair of the blue, and then the floral with the stripe. Yeah, I really like them, but I definitely feel like I could use more. So although I really liked all my white tiles, I decided to add a little bit more interest by making some green tiles. And I kind of wanted to give it sort of a vintagey look. So I went ahead and folded them into the shapes that I wanted because these are going to be the decorative tiles that are actually hanging on towel racks in the bathroom. So I took my time and folded them in shapes that look like already folded towels and put them in a shape that they would be in if they were actually hanging on the towel rod. Now, dolls, be aware I will be making a video on how to make those towel rods. So look for part 2 of this video. And after folding them over into the appropriate shape, I decided I wanted something on it to make it a little bit more decorative, but not fancy. And I had a leftover piece of brown ribbon. This ribbon actually came out of a dress that I recently purchased, and it was inside the dress, I guess, to help it stay on the hanger. I hate those ribbons. So I cut it out and used it for my dollhouse towels. Again, dolls, nothing wasted. And it was the perfect scale, and I thought the brown made it look a little bit more vintage next to that green. Now, dolls, with projects like this, a little time and some imagination, you can come up with something really, really wonderful for your dollhouse bathroom. You can use lace, beads, you could embroider it, you could draw the design on it, you could even do initials or a family crest. Regardless to what you do, dolls, just always have fun. So here I am finishing the little border ribbon that I added, and I thought it looked really, really cute. I think it's going to look great hanging on my towel rack. Now, I really did like the towel, but I felt like those edges were a little bit frayed looking. So I just grabbed my really super sharp fabric scissors and just trim that part off so it will look nice and even and smooth. Now, if you'd like dolls, you could actually even fray check that to keep it from raveling, but I didn't for mine. I felt like it would be fine. Now, dolls, just like with the white tiles, you want to make multiples because you always want to have more than what you need. And I always figure if I make too many, I can save the rest and use it in another project. So nothing wasted, dolls. So here we are with decorative tiles for the Rooming House Dollhouse bathroom. Now, dolls, if you've enjoyed this video today, definitely let me know in the comments. Also, like, share, and subscribe. And always look for me on Mondays and Wednesdays after 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Looking forward to seeing you again on the next episode of Little Gretchen's Workshop. Bye-bye now, dolls.